Hello and welcome back. So today we will look into the pitch deck and what are the source of investments do we have as a startup from India wanting to make it big. This brings to the end of the 5 weeks to startup program. I hope you liked it. And if you feel anyone will benefit out of these 5 weeks, in this video, I will give links to all the shorts and all the master classes which you can share at one go. And I also do one-on-one personalized entrepreneur coaching for building for people who are wanting to build it from scratch up. And I also do business strategy, fractional CTO, and RevOps consulting for startups and small, medium enterprises. So if you feel you have a need for somebody to come in and help guide you, you have the links below. Please set up some time with me and we can get started. Otherwise, I will plan for more important and more meaningful content over the years to come so that you benefit out of all my experiences and learnings to build your sustainable business. Without delay, let's get in. Today, we will absolutely focus on the most crucial aspects of building your business, which is nothing but your pitch deck and how to raise investments. So before we begin, here is a quote. I would rather say two quotes, one on pitch deck and one on raising investments. So pitch deck predominantly is a simple and a roadmap for the destination and not the stops along the way. So this is a quote by Mark Cuban during one of the Shark Tank shows. And what this basically means is you have to give a roadmap of how your product or technology is going to evolve in the future to help sustain the business. So for instance, if you are designing your pitch deck, don't talk about I'm trying to raise an investment now, and 2 years later, I will need this much more money. 5 years later, this much more money to infuse. They are the stops before you go ahead. But in a pitch deck, what you need to focus on is what is your idea? What is the problem it is solving? Why is it important to solve the problem? And how you will sustain it in the long run and how you will build a meaningful company. That's what people want to hear, not the showstoppers. If I do this one, and if I have to raise fund, this is what it is. No, that's not what a pitch deck is all about. So remember this whole thing, that your pitch deck should only talk about your product or service and how it will evolve over a period of time for it to sustain. And when you are raising investments, remember, you have to invest in me because mine is a path-making idea is a very, very wrong notion. You have to think about the investor. Investor's money is not free money. I'm sorry, but I do know people who have taken investors' money, had fun with it for some time, and said, you know what, the idea didn't take off. They have not made any efforts, and investors trusted them to get this idea executed so that they make money. So you have to own the money. You have to own the emotion of the investor. Let it be an angel, let it be a VC, anybody it can be. You have to own the money. We have seen many stories of people who take money to raise to make a big dent, but end of the day they're struggling in the business model to generate the kind of revenue what they promise the investor. Remember, if you do that, investors lose trust on you, and it also impacts other people who might want to raise investments. So please be very, 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 and be very responsible. And that is treat that as your money to ensure you have confidence. If you have committed something to the investor, you have to do it hook or crook. They have trusted you with their lifelong savings to make money and for their passion to support entrepreneurship or support startups. they have given you the money. Otherwise, they can do traditional investments and they're very happy with them. They get the returns and they're living very happily. But they are going out of the way to help entrepreneurs like you and me. And we should be very, very responsible in terms of managing the money. Else, it will be a total disaster. Moving on, before I get into the pitch deck, I wanted to share this book with you. I have read this book a long ago, and it has created a very, very powerful impact on me. To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. Now, what he argues in the book is we are by nature salesmen. Now you might tell, Hari, I'm an introvert. I can't talk a lot. I've known my friends tell me, Hari, we are introverts. We don't like being in public, or we don't like talking, or whatever. But when you have a startup, all these things have to take a backseat. The reason being, from the childhood, you have persuaded your parents for whatever you want. You want a chocolate, you want a doll, you want a toy. You have persuaded them to get you what you want. In the similar way, when you grow up and when you are starting up, why is that quality not continuing? Why do we choose to become introverts or extroverts, right? It's a transition over a period of time. So if you are an entrepreneur wanting to kickstart your entrepreneurial journey, trust me, you need to bring back your sales instincts from your childhood. So this book argues a lot about that, and he shares lots of insights into those aspects. So I highly recommend, if you're an entrepreneur, there are a lot of books which I recommend. Probably I will do videos over a period of time on them. But most importantly, read this book. I'm sure you will have meaningful insights in understanding how we are born salesmen and how we can capitalize on our strengths to sell our product. Or what should the pitch deck have? The three components the pitch deck should have are value proposition, your business type, and your business model. It can have a number of slides, but they should cover these three things. And many people think that having 15 slides, 20 slides will give a lot of information. No. Keep your pitch deck as concise as possible. After the thank you slide, add any additional information you want to share. So when somebody is seeing your pitch deck, in 5 to 6 slides, they should understand what is your idea, whom is it going to impact, why are you the best person to solve that problem, how are you solving the problem, how are you going to scale the problem. And last but not the least is your go-to-market strategy. You can include that if you are very clear. Otherwise, you can give an outline. So 6 to 7 slides, that's about it. And thank you. And next, by the way, if you are already generating revenue, have a slide on when you started, when you launched the product, what has been the initial acceptance by your customers, and how much they're paying, and how are you generating revenue, where are you today, and if you have generated decent revenue, how are you spending the revenue. So you can include that in another one slide, which will give the information to the party whom you are presenting. And remaining all of your research information can go behind. I want to stress on one point here. Over the last 2 weeks, fortunately, I was invited to a couple of pitch sessions. 100% of the pitches, what I've heard about 12 to 13 pitches, except 2 of them. Remaining 13 are not generating any revenue. They are at the ideation stage. Point number 1. Point number 2, all the 13 pitches, what I have heard, talked about the target market. And the target market was running in trillions. So somebody had an AI idea for, for sales and marketing of consumer goods or something like that. And they're talking about the whole global market size. Trust me, if you put that slide on your deck, you are inviting failure, because that's not a practical and meaningful metric. You are not going to sell your product or service around the world. So that is not your target market. Remember that very, very clearly. So 13 of them, all the 13, even for a small product, what they have done, they went on to give global numbers. It does not make sense. And if nobody will invest in that company, okay, because remember, there is nothing binding you with you and the investor. You don't know the investor doesn't know you, and you are pitching to an unknown group. Why will somebody take time to come and educate you unless until the idea is really, really path breaking? Okay, so 99.99% of the times, if you are targeting a global market, giving global numbers, this is the consumer goods market size of 4 trillion and I want to achieve 1%. No, it doesn't work like that. And I want to really emphasize and stress on that. It doesn't work. How it works is, so if you are in India, or you can be in your country, whichever country you are watching this video from, it can be Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, America, Europe, wherever you are targeting, Middle East, wherever you are targeting, your target accessible market is going to be your country first. If you're truly building for a global market, and if you should focus on one country and talk about that targetable accessible market, but not the whole world together. Point number one. Point number two, based on what you are expecting as an investment, talk about the target market. For example, if you are wanting to raise $100,000, or rather, let's put simple numbers. Let's say you want to raise $1,000, which is equivalent to about 85,000 rupees in India. For discussion purposes, let's make it 1 lakh rupees in India, $1,000. You talk about the target accessible market on focusing on how you are going to make that $1,000 back quickly, so that the investor, if he or she wants the money, they can eject out or they can continue to invest. You understand what I'm saying? You have to focus on the target accessible market to ensure guaranteed return for the investment. Now, I gave a very small number, but many people these days, $1 million has become very easy to ask. $1 million or $500,000, which is a decent, good enough size of money in Indian terms too. But you have to show that with this money, I'm going to target this market, and this is the market's big market size in our particular country or region, and I'm looking at a subset. So indirectly, you are telling the investor, I'm guaranteeing you that your $1 million investment is going to come back in the next 18 months. The second mistake what entrepreneurs do when pitching is, I'm going to raise $1 million today and I'm going to get to point A to point B. Then my execution strategy depends on the next raise of investment, what I'm going to make. You lost the investor there, because nobody wants to do a dead investment. What if they give you the $1 million and at the end of 18 months, you didn't go anywhere? All the $1 million is gone in the drain, which is not a good aspect. So remember, don't ever raise money showing the whole world as a market. Focus on the small markets first. Most importantly, connect the investment to the return. You invest $1 million. I will use this to reach a sales of at least $5 million. And then I will raise. At least the investor will have the confidence, okay, his money is not going down the drain, but his money is helping generate 4 times the money what I'm going to invest in. So it gives a sense of confidence. Please, please, please do not make this mistake of asking for money for your whole first phase where there are no sales. I will establish the machinery. I will establish this. I will establish an office. I will go here. All these things are somebody's money, and you're asking it for all dead investment. You have to ask investment only for increasing your sales or generating back the money what they're investing in. Predominantly nowadays, most of the investors also have become very wary of investing in an idea stage. So until you have a decent revenue or basic revenue with whatever you have invested, you can show I bootstrapped and this is the money I invested in my company, and with this I reached here. Now if you can give me this money, I will reach to this level. That will increase the confidence. So ensure your pitch deck is concise. If you want to give any other related information, any other aspects, put it after the thank you slides. So if they are interested, they will go ahead and see, and they will have an understanding what research you have done. So do not make these mistakes while writing your pitch deck. Talk about smaller target market. Don't talk about the global market, or don't talk about a country market. So I've seen pitches where there are 1.3 billion people in India. There are 1 billion households, and my product is going to reach 500 million households. It doesn't make any sense. In terms, it might be an amazing product, but unless you get to the actual market and the feedback and this thing. So talk about the state. Talk about these are the households in my state. This is the population. These are the number of households. This is what I want to invest in to reach these households. Once the money comes in, you can even sell outside the stage. But what happens is you're lowering the expectation. Lower the expectation and deliver high. That's when the mileage of an entrepreneur increases 100 folds. 99% of the entrepreneurs, they promise more, deliver less. That is the biggest problem what investors see. So commit less, deliver more. You will be the talk of the town. Investors will stand in front of your home to invest in you because you are superseding or increasing all their money what they're investing. That's what people want. They don't want, you give me money, I'll set up this thing, then I'll start selling with the next raise of money. Don't approach it that way. Keep these things in mind and go forward. What, why, and how. I have emphasized this in all my videos, but these are the key aspects which go into the pitch deck. Why are you solving this problem? Why is this problem very important for people or your customers? How are you solving the problem? How are you the best person to solve the problem? And how are you reaching them, and how you are solving the problem? Why should more and more people come to you? Look at these three things: the why, the what, the how. These has to be, it need not be in this order or in this template, but answer these questions in the pitch deck. That makes a lot of sense. What is an elevator pitch? A very important aspect of being an entrepreneur. You need to look at how you can very concisely pitch your idea or product to a potential customer or an investor. Now, we don't know when we will meet these two categories of people. You might be just going somewhere and you might meet somebody on the road, or you're in a restaurant, somebody walks up and says, "Hey, what do you do?" And the conversation kicks off. So we need to be prepared to have a concise pitch of our whole idea. That's the whole aspect of elevator pitch. So the best pitches are less than 15 seconds, but I understand not all ideas can be less than 15 seconds. The whole concept of elevator pitch came in, especially when an elevator pitch, I learned elevator pitch is in 2004. When I joined my previous organization, during the induction period, they talk about how you meet the CEO, Neil Patterson, in a lift in the main building, and his office is on the 6th floor, but you're getting off at 1st floor or 2nd floor. How do you tell him what do you do? And Neil is somebody quite famous who actually goes out and talks to everybody in the office. He meets somebody in the lift he doesn't know. "Hey, who are you? What do you do?" And you immediately introduce yourself. So saying that I'm a software engineer in this division, I'm a test engineer in this division, doesn't add a lot of value. And especially in corporate, the visibility is very important. So you need to make your first impressions the best when you're meeting, especially the executive leadership team. So that's how I learned the term elevator pitch, and they teach us how to present ourselves and what I do or what we do to him in less than 10 seconds. So that's where I heard elevator pitch. Then over a period of time, when I started developing interest in entrepreneurship and things like that, I heard this elevator pitch a lot. So combining all the experiences, this is what I wanted to share. Whatever you do or what your product or service is, ensure there is a call to action at the end. And what that call to action is, basically you are creating an interest for that person in you and what you do. So if I have to get the visibility at my executive leadership level, I should present myself in a very different way, not saying that I'm a software engineer or a project manager or a team lead or a test engineer. That's everybody what they do. But how are you different from others? That's how you pitch to the executive leadership team. So that became a elevator pitch. So as concise as possible, as meaningful as possible, and as differentiated as possible. That's the elevator pitch. And the call to action is, the person will ask you if you have 2 minutes to talk more on what you do, or you're interested in your product or service, or the person says, hey, you know what, I'm searching for ideas and it looks like yours is promising. Why don't we have a conversation? That is the call to action, and that is the result of an elevator pitch. The more you practice, the more easier it becomes. Let me give you some examples. Look at the Dropbox example. Imagine a folder on your computer where you can put all your files. Now imagine that this folder synchronizes with the internet, so you can access your folder from anywhere in the world on any device. That's Dropbox. Simple, right? It's very powerful, meaningful, and it conveys the meaning. That's an example of Dropbox. Let's take a look at a sample elevator pitch of a healthcare company, probably. Because I come from a healthcare, I take a lot of examples from there. We help hospitals reduce patient readmissions by 30% using AI-powered platform that predicts which patients are at the risk of complications before they leave the hospital. Our technology integrates with your existing technology and helps you provide actionable insights. Look at how the pitch goes, right? So you are introducing a new technology to the hospital and also saying that you don't worry in reinventing the whole wheel. I integrate with your software, because legacy systems or large organizations cannot replace what they do overnight with something new. So we have to find the plugins, healthcare, finance, manufacturing. All these industries are large and established, so they have set processes, they have been using technologies for a long time. Now, if you want to pitch something to them which is more meaningful, you need to find yourself to be plugged into their ecosystem, and you can't pull them out of their ecosystem. Very important consideration. So if you use that word, I can integrate with your existing systems or existing software, that changes the whole paradigm and they will be interested. For instance, at Studio Navaka, what we do, we help entrepreneurs turn their ideas into actionable and sustainable business models so that they can focus on exactly what they do, which is the execution and growing the company. So we step in and help organizations do that. That's Studio Navaka, right? So I hope you understood or got the grasp of a pitch deck and the elevator pitch, which is the first part of the masterclass. The second part, which is the most interesting for most of us, is how do I raise investments? What are the kinds of investments? As a disclaimer, I want to mention that this upcoming slides are more focused towards India as a market and for Indian entrepreneurs, and not for the global side. For the global side, I have a lot of visibility into what Australia does. They have a lot of grants. Probably I'll do a different video for only Australian market and what are the grants available in Australia and how they can make use of those grants to build their startup. So let's jump in and do a little deep dive into how do you raise capital in India, what are the different ways, and I'll share a few companies, the top 10s in each one, or which are making a huge impact. And let's look at some data and understand when you should raise a fund, how you should raise a fund, and how do you build your company without even raising a fund. Yes, there are absolute many ways you can build. And I personally very strongly believe in sustainable entrepreneurship, building products and services for long play and not for the short play. All right, so let's get it. So what are the 4 ways you can raise investment in India? You have grants, you have angel investments, you have accelerators, which have a fund which they can help you grow with. And last but not the least are the VCs. If I'm making any statements throughout my class against any VCs, I'm not against them. It is just that I'm trying to focus on sustainable entrepreneurship. Hence, I will dissuade you to going to a VC, especially except for that if you have any specific criteria, which I will talk towards the whole session. The first one is grants. India has a lot of grants, and you can raise grants up to 2 crores to 3 crores and 10 crores in certain areas from the government to build your company. Did you know that? So these are the top grants which are available from a central government perspective, and there are lot of other grants which are available at a state government level. If you require the list of all these grants according to the state, leave me a message and I will definitely curate that and share it with you. Let's jump in. Startup India's seed fund, SISF, they can go up to 50 lakhs. Again, these are all application based. There are registered agencies and accredited agencies, which can be IITs, IIMs, and there are a lot of other accelerators, NITs. These are all organizations which work with the government. So you can approach them through your local and the nearest organization, and you can do it, or you can go ahead and submit your application online. I would highly recommend doing the first one because you will have somebody to talk to and who can help you get that fund and things like that. The second one is the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for micro and small enterprises, which runs up to 2 crores. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana goes up to 10 lakhs, and this also helps you build various kinds of products and services. Atal Innovation Mission goes up to 10 crores. This is huge money, and again, you can go through any of the agencies who are accredited to MIT, and they can help you get there. But you don't get 10 crores at first stance when you're doing it. Everything starts small. If you are at an idea level, you can go up to 5 to 7 lakhs. Then you can go ask for additional funds based on the progress what you have made. You have to submit your progress report. Then the government will look at it and they will release the next set of funds. It grows like that. So when I say up to through the slide, it's not that first day you write a pitch deck that I want 10 crores. No, you're not going to definitely get it. So you have to start small. If you're at the ideation stage, how much do you require for that idea to become a reality? And then you go and say, I have brought my idea to reality. Here's my product. I built the MVP. Now I want some more money to take it to market. Then give your marketing strategy, how much you have to spend, and they'll release the fund. Then you start selling. Then the revenue comes in. Then you go, here's what I came till this revenue. Now I want more funds to enhance the sales part. And then you add. So incrementally it adds. It doesn't come one day. National Initiative for Developing and Harnessing Innovation goes up to 10 crores again. SIDBI, Make in India soft loan for fund for MSME, which will go up to 25 crores. I think this has a loan perspective also into that. They might ask for a collateral or something like that. But still, if you're good, if your idea is good, if your product is good, and if you want to build it, you can go this direction. Biotechnology initiative predominantly for biotech companies can go up to 1 crore, and Startup India Fund can go to any number. However, one thing as an entrepreneur, remember, all these grants are given basically to create employment. So when you create a company, you create employment. The impact is measured on the employment. So that's the most important. So don't, technically, I don't see a measurement today with the government, and one of my recommendations is that. But today, you can, what do I say? You cannot go ahead and get your job done on any outsourced platforms from outside India through the funds what you receive for the government. No, you cannot do that. You have to keep the money within the boundaries of India, and you have to create employment. So you might outsource your work to somebody, but it has to be somebody from India, not outside, because the government grants which are coming out of taxpayers' money. It's very responsible. You can't give away the money and push the money outside the country. You have to keep it within the country, and you have to get your job done within the country. And thereby, you're creating an economic impact. That's what the government is looking for. So these are the grants. You have any questions on this, leave a message and I will answer them. Going to the next one are the angels. Who are these angels? There are individual angels, there are a group of angels. There are individual angels, you can search on Google, you can find them. They have their offices, you can submit your idea and you can get, I mean, there are a lot of people, Kunal Shah, Vijay of Paytm. Many people like this in India who have been there, done that, who have gone to those levels, who are interested to give back to the society, and they've created a fund from their earnings and they will invest in you. For them, you search for individual angels and pitch your idea to them. Otherwise, there are organized groups around the country: Indian Angel Network, Mumbai Angels Network, Chennai Angels Network, Hyderabad Angels Network. You have a lot of angel networks which I have listed here, about 10 of them I've listed here. You can search for them on Google, go ahead and submit your application, and if they like it, they will call you for the next round. So the next one are the accelerators. Now, I tried to put here accelerators predominantly which are focused on having an acceleration program, and also they do the investment. I'm not talking about investors. I have very close friends who are running fantastic accelerators, but they focus outside India market. So these accelerators, what I've listed here, are predominantly focusing on the India market. And for instance, Y Combinator also has an Indian arm which accepts applications. So I've not listed those kind of accelerators here. This is predominantly accelerators which are focusing on the Indian market and have some funds to invest in you to take your idea forward. 100x.vc, I remember I pitched it to my idea to them, but it never went through the next level. Acceler Ventures, GFX Accelerator, T Labs, there are quite a few, as you see. So there is one at the end which is Gramina Incubation Center. They have an incubation program, an accelerator program for 18 to 24 months, and also they have funds to give you from the ideation stage to a growth and scale stage. So consider searching for these and their websites, and go ahead and apply. The Gramina Incubation Center predominantly focuses only for the rural impact, rural, tribal, and artisan level impact. So if you have ideas which can create employment or which can create a meaningful outcome for these kind of sectors, I think you should check out GIC. VCs, again, there are a low number of VCs around India. But again, whom I have picked up to put here are VCs who are focusing on Indian market and Indian startups. You can scale, that's not a problem. They have the parent arms and things like that. You can scale, you can go global, whatever you want to do. But these people are predominantly focused on Indian market. When should I choose an investment? This is one question which most of us have. One of the biggest aspects, or one of the biggest roadblocks for a first time entrepreneur is money. We are more in the ecosystem. We are born and brought up in such a way that we should study, go ahead, get a job, have a saving, buy a house, buy a car, raise a family. Yes, and few of us are now trying to be outliers by becoming first generation entrepreneurs. My father has been a teacher. My mom was a homemaker all her life. My brother retired from government service. So for me, it's a very different aspect, and I'm a first time entrepreneur. None of my first family are entrepreneurs. Everybody have worked, made their money, and settle down in life. But I chose a different path, and I wanted to become an entrepreneur because I don't know why. From the beginning of my school, college days, predominantly college days, I always wanted to be on my own. So we have that challenge. So one of the best ways to address the problem without you sinking in your money is, I would say, start looking at the government funds, right? Startup India funds or whatever, which will give you a small foothold into the world of entrepreneurship. So you can get your idea from an idea to an MVP. So use those funds, be very frugal about spending that money, and bring your idea to life. So when you should choose a fund is the step one. I would highly recommend use the startup funds, or I would, don't be my way, don't invest your money into it. I put in all my PF and gratuity into my startup. Again, 5-6 years ago, there were not so many funds available, but today they are, and now we are seriously considering them. But otherwise, coming back, look at the idea, build your MVP, and then get going. Look at if you want to utilize the startup funds to help you get to that level. If you are really passionate, but you can't invest anything of your own right now. But otherwise, if you have, try to be frugal about it, invest a little money, bring your idea to fruition, and then start going forward. The step two is go for grants. As I said, go for the grants once you get to that MVP. It'll be much more easier. Or find an angel investor who can help you get there. However, I'll caution you one thing. Any angel investor or an VC today is not investing at an idea level. Please take it very clear. It has to be revenue generating. It can be a small revenue, but it has to be revenue generating. And what happens is, most of us, we keep our main job until we raise a fund or get that salary, what we are getting from the job today. Trust me, when you're a startup, you can't get to that stage overnight. So, and when you especially approach investors, one of the first things they check with you is if you have full-time or part-time. Part-times, they don't invest, because you're only not serious about the idea. How can I part my money with you to build that idea? So if you are raising an angel investment, if not the whole salary, you cut down on your salary expectation and say, tell the angel investor before itself that, look, I'm going to take this much as salary because I have to survive. I don't have any savings. They're open with it, but you have to be upfront and tell them. So be very careful. If I understand having a standard income, and we have our commitments and all that stuff. So to give you my story, when I was wanting to start my entrepreneurial journey, I cleared my car loan, and I sold my house off and moved to a rented house because I didn't want to take the EMI burden on me. It gives tremendous stress, and I can't go forward. So I cleared both and started with whatever I could put in and started building it from there. So that's my journey. Look at how you're going to pitch it to the angels, any investor for the matter of fact. Just put yourself in the investor shoes. If somebody is coming and telling you, I'm doing side business, can you give me some money? Nobody would want to give. Because you yourself are not serious, because you're serious about your day job. So they will not invest. So plan accordingly and mentally prepare next 12 to 18 months until I get to a certain stage. I cannot get back to the salary what I have today. And if you have any loans, I highly recommend clearing them off before you jump into the world of entrepreneurship. Third one is if you are a SaaS startup and you want to have eventually grow global, because SaaS are predominantly easy and you want to grow global, I would highly recommend first build your SaaS model in your locality itself. Look, when I say locality, in the country itself or the state itself, and slowly grow. And to ensure that you are playing it safe, don't go too far away from your home location. For instance, I know many startups. I'll give you some numbers. Quite a few startups who are SaaS and who start focusing on the American market or European market. I understand that the currency conversion will add a lot of value for you, but before you get there, build your base correctly so that you have to invest it back into the global strategy. Again, when you translate your currency, our currency, to the global currency, again, it change the financial impact will be a lot higher. So if you're a SaaS startup, look for an accelerator which will help you grow locally and also globally. And if your idea is specifically targeted towards American market or the European market, there are accelerators which focus on those kind of ideas. So find those kind of accelerators. If you need any help finding, again, leave me a comment. I can help you guide with that. So that is the very key aspect what you need to look for. And if you are a blockchain or crypto kind of a startup, I know crypto has a lot of rules and regulations in India, but I know friends who have moved to Dubai and started up there, and they're building their companies from there. If you're that kind of a company, look at a global fund which will help you achieve all these things. And last but not the least, if you have created a sustainable business model, if you want to grow, if you want to build your company to the next level, focus on the revenues, be lean, be frugal, see to that you get to a certain level of execution. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes 5 to 10 years or 5 to 8 years for you to stabilize all from your idea to getting to that kind of revenue. If you can sustain a 3 crore revenue in the last 3 years, IPO is a very good option which will accelerate your growth. I mean, there are Indian companies which have gone that route and went public, and they're doing amazing today. So moving on, a couple of points or statistics for you. 40% of Indian startups want to grow globally. So for instance, there were 1 lakh startups registered, 100,000 startups registered in 2023-24. And out of that, 40% of the startups want to grow global. 3 out of 4 early stage startups wish to expand specifically to the US. And these are the companies which are in SaaS or AI or fintech kind of domains. 70% of startups focus on the Indian market, and India has around 60 generative AI startups end of 2023, 2,000 fintech and 2,000 SaaS startups, which even if you look at the whole spectrum of 1 lakh startups, it's close to about 5,000 or 6,000 startups, which is about 5 to 6% which are in that. Predominantly others are focusing on the Indian market. Nothing wrong, I'm just giving statistics. So India is a huge economy, and if you're building a startup, I would highly recommend focus on the Indian market. And there are futuristic ideas, which I'm not deterring. And if you are looking at futuristic ideas, if you want to solve problems for the global perspective, one learning what I have taken: do not solve a problem without knowing what the actual problem is. So if you have not traveled anywhere, if you have not experienced the problem yourself, if you are building the problem, hearing the problem from others, or with your research on internet, I would highly dissuade you to do that. Find a way to go to that country or that place which you're focusing. For example, if you're wanting to build something for the American market, all the conceptual aspects can be the same, but I would highly recommend, if you have an opportunity or create an opportunity to go, the way I used to go after I became an entrepreneur, I used to find conferences which have impact, and I used to go for the conference and then spend 2-3 days talking to people around to understand if the problem exists and if the problem is real. So find ways, and you will have a better understanding of the problem before you go forward. Now, what are the key strategies to build a successful company? The first one is always have a customer-centric approach. If you do not value your customers' feedback, you are doomed on the long run. So build your company in a framework which is encapsulated by customer-centric approach. That's the most important thing for building a successful company. The second is your business model should be scalable. Most of us, we think, okay, I'm manufacturing a pen and I want to build a company which manufactures pen, but I'm going to sell this pen for 10 rupees or 10 cents, and I'm going to sell the refill for 20 rupees. There are a lot of companies which do that. For example, subscription has become so common that today we have the Bombay Shaving Company or some other company which are selling razors for men. Now, the razor is a one-time investment, but the blades are a repetitive investment. The cream is a repetitive investment. The aftershave lotion is a repetitive investment. So you can keep the first one small and you can increase the other prices. So you have to find how best you can generate revenue out of the product you have. If you ask me, a pen, one of the key problems for a pen is we always lose the cap, correct? So, but I can never buy a cap. I have to buy the whole pen together. What if somebody is selling the pen, cap for 1 rupee? I can still retain the pen, and I've created a new business model. So these all fall under RevOps aspect, how you are looking at your revenue and how your company is functioning, and looking at what are the other various ways of generating revenue. These all fall under that. So all these become part of this, sustainable business model, scalable business models. So ensure your business model is scalable and sustainable. The third one is keep your operations as lean as possible. These days, at least, I'm seeing otherwise predominantly only the large companies do that. Everything should be in-house, right? Which is good. It works for them. It's their proprietary IP and all these aspects. But we as startups, we have to keep it lean. You can do a lot of other things. So for example, earlier, if you go back to when the YouTube came into picture and the content creators at the beginning days, they have done their videos and they have done their editing and everything. But today, if you do a video, you can outsource your editing, your thumbnail, your whatever, and everything is done, and come back and you upload the video. So I'm still not there. I'm still doing everything on my own. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is keep your business model as lean as possible so that it helps you control the costs and grow organically. And last but not the least is having a very strong go-to-market strategy. Understanding the acceptance of the customer of your product in their domain, in their territory, is very, very important. So have a good go-to-market strategy. Today, there are a lot of fractional CMOs and CXOs available in the market who come with over 20 years of experience. They've done their job, they've quit, and they became full-time fractional business owners or fractional specialists. Approach them, the cost will be less, and they will do an amazing job for you because they are seasoned professionals. They're not entrepreneurs who are doing consulting. So make use of these kind of specialists and experienced people instead of trying to find somebody to come on board all the while, right? So these are the 4 key aspects of building winning products. That concludes the session on pitch deck and raising investments. I hope you found this useful. I hope you found this meaningful. If you do, please do leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. It will add to my contribution and also motivates me to do a lot more videos. Look forward and wishing you the best.